Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam and it genuinely upsets me that I can't record these videos with the air conditioning on because Australian springs, they're a little bit brutal. But today we're here to talk about the amazing information that has been released alongside the monumental volume 100 of One Piece. As always, Oda has left lots of great secrets for us to discover in the SBS sections. And for your enjoyment, I can guarantee that there will be at least one genital-based question, so we have something to look forward to. Special note before we get into this though, today we are covering volume 100, not the recently released Vivia card sets. There is so much packed into those that they really do need an entirely separate video. Essentially though, it is a very good time to be a One Piece fan right now because the information is being pummeled into our mind brains like some sort of furious jet Gatling gun. Also, this video was generously, that's the word. This video was generously sponsored by Displate, a group who create schmick one-of-a-kind metal posters for your aesthetic enjoyment. You can choose posters from over 1.4 million different artists on their website. They're 100% safe for walls and held up by the wonderful sorcery of magnets. It legitimately takes like 20 seconds and no tools to set up. In fact, I've already set up 3 of them whilst recording this plug. Furthermore, for every one Displate sold, the company plants 1 tree in Africa. So in alchemical terms, the equation is 1 metal decoration transmutes directly into 1 lovely oxygen-granting tree thing, which so far has resulted in an incredible over 14 million trees planted. Trees are good. I really cannot emphasize that enough. Displate also has about a gazillion different official brand partners, including Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and kind of oddly specifically, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. So go ahead and inflate yourself, which isn't actually a word, but you get the idea. Also, you can click the link in the description for a discount on your Displates today. But with that, let's get into the SBS. Question: please draw Robin 40 and 60 years old. Oda, don't say I didn't warn you. So I've said this about a billion times, but these are some of my favorite things in the world. I love the future Straw Hats. Although just like Nami, the good timeline Robin doesn't really seem to age at all. In fact, I'm convinced that age 60 Robin looks even younger than age 40. And I think that age 40 Robin agrees with that assessment because the text next to her says, must be nice being young. So clearly doing a bit of the old lamenting of youth there. But at age 60, things get super energetic because Robin is saying, will you join me to go investigate something? Thus completing her full transition into becoming Indiana Jones. As always though, the most interesting parts are the bad timeline Robin, and things have certainly gone very wrong here. With age 40 Robin stating that she has thrown all of her books away, and at age 60 Robin is very terrifying because she is offering to literally buy a child. Yes, you heard correctly, purchase a small child. Bad timeline Robin actually gives me some pretty big Mother Carmel vibes with the cigarette and the child slavery angle. And actually this is probably one of the darkest Straw Hat futures that we've seen so far. Question: are Ulti and Page One real siblings? Page One seems to call her with a term that feels more like it could be said to an older female friend, not just a big sister. So I'm very curious about the two. Oda: yeah, they are brother and sister. It appears that their father was a pirate too, but he passed away. Kaido knew their father, so he ended up taking the two with him afterwards. Ulti was very smart. She stole 2 devil fruits that Kaido had and made both her and her brother into capable forces so that they could survive in this pirate crew, where the strong make it and the weak get devoured. So I love this question and I love this answer even more. I mean, I tend to enjoy everything about Ulti, but this makes the Toby Roper makeup a lot more satisfying. As thematically appropriate as it is, I always found it a bit difficult to buy the fact that Kaido had somehow conveniently gathered a legion of ancient Zoan users. So it makes a lot more sense that the devil fruits were given to some of his crew, or in this case not given but stolen. It's just a much more satisfying explanation as to why we have so many relevant dino peeps. And it also makes me wonder if he may have done the same for the other crew members, barring Drake, sort of like becoming the Oprah of the devil fruit world. You get to be a dinosaur. You get to be a dinosaur. Everyone gets to be a dinosaur. Except you. You get to be a chicken. It's also quite fascinating that Kaido knew Ulti and Page One's father. And not only that, but he had the respect for him to take in his 2 kids. So it makes me wonder if their father maybe might have been another member of the Rocks Pirates or something important along those lines. Question: Oda, please tell why Hawkins' eyebrows are the way they are. And not only does he get asked that question, but Oda is then given a series of options. 1, he was born that way. 2, he painted them on. 3, he has thick eyebrows and this is the result of shaving them. 4, he ended up with those after a punishment game. And then the reader adds, I love his eyebrows. So this is something that I've long since been curious about as well. Along with Rayleigh's beard, Hawkins' eyebrows defy my puny brain logic. So let's see what Oda's explanation is. Oda: so that's not his eyebrows. Every triangle is a single hair. So for eyebrows, Hawkins has 6 strands of hair going on. So each one of these here triangles is 1 strand of hair, and damn, that is some pretty thick hair. He's quite lucky as well because he's only 1 triangle away from this sort of unstoppable monobrow. Question. Oda-sensei, I have a question. Does the weapon used by Kaido have a name? In addition, how handsome would it be if it was anthropomorphized? Alright, excellent. So just to remind you of some previous anthropomorphizations, this is Zoro's Sandai Kitetsu, this is Luffy's straw hat, and this cheerful little fellow is Yamato's side boob. So with that in mind, let's unveil this magnificent, I can't even say it with a straight face, this magnificent specimen that is Kaido's club. And here he is. According to Oda, the weapon's name is Hasaikai, which is a reference to the 8 commandments of Buddhism. It has no ranking amongst the Meito, which the time is taken to point out, but I feel is kind of fairly obvious because it's a club, not a blade. However, it is also said that the weapon would become quite legendary if Kaido were to leave it behind. Oda also says that Kaido is much scarier than his weapon, but I love this so much. The flexing is fantastic, and even the overall body shape kind of mimics the nature of a club. His legs are super thin to act as a handle, whilst the upper area is stacked aft to accomplish all of the hitting and stuff. And as for the dialogue next to him, Hasaikai is basically just refusing to go outside, which I think is a reference to the 8 Buddhist commandments. That's essentially a list of don't do these things like lying, stealing, eating in the afternoon, you know, all of the worst offenses. So I think this is sort of like Hasaikai's comical commandment, don't go outside. A question to Mr. Oda. One Piece Volume 95, page 33, in the Flower Capital, we see this person. Is that Shinobu as a man? So this is something that I just completely missed. I don't think that I have ever registered this character before now. A very Shinobu-esque ninja who appears in this panel pretty much right before Act 2 of Wano ends. And so the answer from Oda is as follows. Oh my, you found that out. How can you say such a rude thing about Shinobu? He's actually Shinobu's older brother, and his name is Shinobu Uke. He loved his sister and knew that Shinobu would be hunted down and killed for being a renegade after he left the Gote gang. So he became a renegade himself, protecting his sister while acting as a Kozuki samurai. Here's the thing though, now that we actually know about Shinobu Uke, which is stupidly hilarious name. But now that we know he exists, what we need is surely to see a drawing of him when he was younger. Because if he does follow the Shinobu trend, then in his more youthful days, I would bet large quantities of currency that he was an extraordinarily handsome dude guy. And that maybe his family just has a very interesting set of genes where after a certain age, everything just falls apart. Question. What would Usopp look like if he wears a mask with his nose like that? Oda, here you go. It would look like this. So here we have, I suppose, a very relevant to the times question, and I just love this drawing, although I feel like the One Piece world would be an absolute nightmare to mass produce masks for. So many different face sizes and shapes and just weird quirks. Although I suppose at the very least the world nobles would be well prepared for any kind of situation along our lines, which is a shame because they're the ones who suck the most. Question. Mr. Oda, please tell me how strong and powerful CP is. To be clear, that's referring to Cypher Pol and nothing else. It should be something like this. Strongest CP0, CP9, CP8, CP7, going on to the weakest, something like that. Please tell me. And then Oda answers, the whole group Cypher Pol is actually a spy group. That is people who work in the shadow of the government. The general public only knows CP1 to CP8. The larger the number, the more important the task assigned. The legendary CP9 has the privilege of eliminating people who are in the way of the government and is a murderous group that should not exist. The CP0, Secret Police Series 0, is different. They are directly under the command of the world nobles, and because they act under their orders, they are the strongest. So I guess what we have here is potentially unneeded confirmation of the Cypher Pol power hierarchy. I mean, I think it was always a given that CP0 sat at the top, although I suppose it is interesting to learn that CP9 were mostly designated with assassination in mind. And I'd be very curious to know if CP9 still exists actually in some form. All of its previous members except for Spandam fled, and then a couple including Spandam got incorporated into CP0. And we did see some CP9 kids training on that miscellaneous training island, so maybe they'll be the antagonists of Two Piece. But I do wonder if there's a completely new CP9 cell in existence out there somewhere, doing fiendish things like, murder and more murder. Alright, so I forgot to include this in the original video recording, but the next question contains spoilers for anime-only watchers, so sorry. But this is your courtesy warning, and I would advise you to take this opportunity to go and choose another beautiful Grand Line review video. But for everyone else, here we go. Question. Black Maria's ability is kinda like the smiles. No? Oda. I know what you mean. I know that the hybrid form shouldn't have two faces and her arms should be spider-like. However, there is no clear-cut rule for the Zoan transformations. See Chopper. Just like he manipulated his transformations, it is possible for others as well. Black Maria also feels that becoming a full Spider-Woman isn't beautiful at all, so she must have used some drugs to change her hybrid form. Here's the natural one, by the way. So I suppose let's all just take a moment to bask in the wonder of what should be Black Maria's actual Zoan form. I've got to say this answer feels a bit cop-out-ish though. We all know the real reason behind Black Maria's weird Zoan transformation and its character design. We want to keep showcasing the gorgeous woman and her various womanly pieces. I think it could have been answered a lot better than Oda just going, I don't know, drugs? Because as mentioned, there is definitely precedent for devil fruit manipulation via vaguely applied science. Chopper has achieved it and so did Caesar Clown with his Logia fruit. So I feel like there was an incredibly easy answer and that answer would surely be Queen. Just make up some junk about Black Maria taking her concerns to Queen and having him develop a substance to manipulate the fruit transformation. I would buy that 100% over Oda just saying, I don't know, she must have taken some drugs from somewhere. I don't know where. Question. I have been following since the first volume. Can you please draw your penis, Odachi? Oda, how could I possibly draw that here? And then he did. But that sounds like plenty for this here video, but there's plenty more to be found in other videos like this video perhaps, because there's always more to learn, explore, and experience with this wonderful series, so I look forward to seeing you there.